it's me, Harper Savage, and today we're going to get started and create this book, the first one. We already did the cover in another video, so check that out if you haven't already. Oh, let's see what we got here. Well, that's ugly. Let's take care of that. I got this scrapbooking paper from Aliwali's, and I think I know exactly which one I'm going to use. Here it is. This one. Gave it to me. Oh, okay. It gave it to me. I believe one sheet is enough for both the end sheets. So I'm going to cut this to size right now. Alright, now that they're cut out, I'm going to just glue them into the book. Well, first we really gotta crack the spine here. Ta-da! So they're all glued in, the front and back are done. Now we have the title page. I think I want to do a simplified version of the cover. So as usual, I did this sketch off camera here just to make it a little bit quicker. And like I said, it's just a simplified version of what I did on the front cover, although I did show more of the gills on these mushrooms. If you don't know what that is, it's the part underneath the cap that has all like the divider things. I don't know how to describe it really. But I ended up going with color pencils on this one because I don't know, it just was screaming for color pencils. And I made the shapy thing like the moss on the front cover. And to add some texture, I started doing a circular motion with the color pencils. By the way, I'm sorry about the shaking. I think it's only for the color pencil portion on this page here. I don't think it does it in the rest of the side views I did get for this. I'm not sure if it was because I was coloring that hard it was shaking the whole desk, or if I was knocking the tripod. I have no idea, but hopefully next time I'll be more aware of it and it won't happen again. I don't know. We'll see. I can't make any promises here. But I just kept going back and forth with the light green, the dark green, and the mid-tone green that I picked out for this just to make it look nice and textured, kind of like moss or scribbles, whatever. And then I just go in and start coloring the mushrooms with yellow and orange because that's what they are on the front. I believe I based these mushrooms off of the chicken of the woods. Can't quite recall. Something I did notice about this paper is that it's not as good for color pencil. Also, I just want to make a note here. I am like 99% sure that this is not an Amazon printed book. It has a publisher in it, so I don't think Amazon is printing this book, because the paper does not look or feel the same at all. And I'm beginning to understand why people glue all their pages into this book, because this paper is kind of awful. It didn't take well to the color pencils. It's like not a great tooth for color pencils. If you don't know what tooth is, it's the texture on the paper. So they weren't blending together that well. And you'll see in a bit that there is a lot of ghosting and somewhat bleeding on this paper. Honestly, I didn't think it could get worse than Amazon paper. The nicest thing about this is that it's definitely a bright white paper though. And now we're just at the part where I write my name. Alright, let's see what we have next. Empty box. Fill however you see fit. And the copyright. So for this page, I decided to go with something that I might have or do every single time I'm opening this book and working with it, and that is drinking coffee. This particular time, I happen to have a new coffee creamer flavor that I wanted to try. It is the Paris Hilton one. I know that sounds ridiculous. It is like raspberry champagne and it smells a lot like alcohol, and I almost was in disbelief because I don't even think champagne smells that strong. But it tasted really good. To me, it tasted more like rose than it did like raspberry, and not at all like alcohol, so you don't have to worry about that if you don't like that flavor. But it was really good, and I'm probably gonna stock up on that whenever I can. And I drew in my current obsession mug. I go through phases where it's like I have to drink out of one singular mug because it's my current favorite. And it is this squarish, roundish one that I got from the dollar store. I like how tall it feels because the handle's really low on it. I don't know, that's probably like a neurodivergent thing, but it just feels really nice in my hand. And it's made of glass, and it has that glazed look, I guess, when people make, like, hand make their cups. That's what that, like, brown edge is about on top. It's not overflowing coffee. And then because of all the bleed through, I decided to go through my scrapbooking paper and find this. I thought it matched the coffee pretty well. I actually picked out another sheet that I epically ruined because I could not figure out where to cut the square in the middle of the paper. And then when I did figure out where the square hole was, put it in the square hole. I ripped it, so that's what that's about. And I went online to look up some coffee quotes, and I saw coffee time is anytime, so I decided to reverse it and write anytime is coffee time to make it my own. And then I fill it in with some coffee-related stickers, just so it didn't look so empty. And I also, like, really am not good at hand lettering, and I don't really like that I wrote on this page, but there you go. All right, let's see what's up next here. We skip these pages. To begin, create this book, customize the front cover. Add stickers, tape, drawings, writing, etc. Well, we already did that, so that one's done. And we also completed make the title and copyright page more interesting. But we still have to add color and or text to the spine and edges of the book. Now we did the spine, but we didn't do the page edges. So for that, I'll be using my stamping inks and a brush thingy that's for stamping inks. Now I honestly was not sure if this was going to work, if it was going to bleed into the pages or not. So I started off with yellow, hoping it would be like the least noticeable if it did bleed. And I didn't even bother to check, and I just kept going. And then I put the orange on, saw how well it blended. I was like, oh my god, I need to do this for all of it. And you see I have green there. I totally did the green because I was sure it was going to make everything muddy and brown. The green was there just because I thought I was going to make it look like moss or something, but I liked how it looked with the yellow-orange blend, so I just omitted it. So now we can fill in that star. And last, we have add a personal touch to this page, doodles and decorative borders, etc. So I just decided to use the yellow highlighter to color in the text here because I wanted the colors to match. And then I pull out my Forest Fairies, Mushrooms, and Goblins sticker and activity book because a little bit behind the scenes here, I was dealing with a very crippling migraine that day. So it took me like all day to record this, so I did not have the brain power to really think of a drawing for each of these pages. So I relied heavily on stickers for like the next prompt too. But I really liked, literally one of the pages had 4 stickers on it, and I went with those. Then I filled in the empty spaces with some stars and twinkles with the highlighter to make the pages look more related to each other. But because I was dealing with such a massive migraine this particular day, I did not get as far as I was hoping I would get with Create This Book. So it was a little bit of a disappointment, but I had to keep taking breaks because I could not sit upright for long periods of time with how bad it was, even with some medicine. Honestly, I do wish I had put another sticker next to the E or K of Create This Book because it looks a little unbalanced, but I also was not going for a super balanced look at the same time. But it's whatever, it's done. Okay, let's flip to what's next. We have create a fancy name. Write your name on this page in a fancy way. Ideas, use large text, write with your best pen, include your favorite colors, etc. So I had to get out my ruler for this. It's not a normal ruler, it's a triangle. I don't have a normal ruler anymore, so we're just dealing with the triangle, okay? What I did was I made each page look like it had notebook paper on them, and also some sticky notes that went horribly wrong because the page was bending in a weird way because there's only like a couple sheets on that side, so it wasn't very balanced, blah blah blah. And I tried to pull out some liners that I didn't think would bleed through the page, and that was my grabby ones in black, because they're not super black, they're like more of a dark gray color, and my zebra ones, but to my disappointment, they did ghost and bleed through the page. I didn't think they would. I really didn't think they would, because they're a lot lighter than all my other fine liners. I don't know why I think lighter means it won't bleed through, but that's where my brain was at when I picked these liners. And now I'm putting paw prints on the sticky notes, because not only am I going to be working on this book, hopefully Chi, my cat, will be working on this with me here, and I thought it'd be cute to make it look like he kind of just walked across like a desk or something where I was practicing my own signature. So I had to make him a little bit runny looking, and also like partially on the surface he walked across. And now we get into my favorite hand lettering. Yay. Now, I like almost never write my full name in cursive. I only do my initials. So I actually had to look up what a cursive V looks like, because it's been so long since I've written out my name. And I also forgot which way the loop on the P goes. So I messed that letter up, and I decided to just white it all out, because there was no way I was going to leave that like that. After a trillion codes later, I decided to reference some Adobe fonts to actually see how my name would look in full cursive. And then while I was on the Adobe font website, I looked up some other cool fonts, and I was inspired by other ones. I don't remember their names, but they definitely don't look anything like those fonts, so I'm not really that worried about it. I went for like a bubbly squarish one for the next name part. So I grabbed my jelly roll at first for some white highlights, and it died in the middle of me using it. I can't stand jelly roll white. It never works for me. So I just grabbed my grabby thin liner and finished off the shines. And then I went for like a wide cursive one. The last one I did said like, what is it, serifs? The ones with the extra little caps on everything. Make it a little interesting looking. And of course I had to write Chi's name so people got that was Chi's signature. And I went in with a black colored pencil to add some shading onto it, just to make it look like it was coming off the page a little bit. And now we have create a rule. Make a rule for yourself and follow it on each page of this book, unless it conflicts with the instructions. Write your rule in the box provided. Examples: draw a symbol on every page, date the bottom of each page, add a sticker to each page, etc. Now, every time I read one of these prompts out loud, I realized etc. is tacked on to the end of everything. I'm like, listen, we don't need to have that there every time. Okay, calm down. But anyways, my rule for the rest of the create this book will be rate each page, like giving it a rating. I put Chi heads on the top because that is referencing my 12 Days of Arts and Coffees from last year. You should watch that. It's binge-worthy, trust me, if you haven't already. You can check that out if you want. Then I have a like and dislike symbol button thing, and I also have a bar at the bottom there. And for the life of me, my brain could not figure out how to fit 5 stars into that box, so it ended up being 4 stars. So that happened, and that one has a little nub on it. Ignore it, we'll fix it. And then I filled in the rest of the box with some twinkles. That seems to be my go-to, is like stars and twinkles. Put like this weird little border around the box. I don't know, it felt empty, so I did that. And for coloring this in, I do a mix of like paint markers and color pencil. Now all the Chi heads ended up looking different, and I'm like really irritated about that, but there's not much I can do now. And for my bar, I wrote bad, medium, good, or like how much you like it, or how much I like it rather. And I did it in the rainbow, and here's a fine example of why I don't like yellow, because I could not get the yellow to blend that well. Honestly, it was more the orange that was not blending this time than the yellow, but the yellow still wasn't doing a good job either. But I ran out of ideas for what could look like a rating, so I didn't do that many doodles on this page for it. Now, I did write down what rate each page meant, and I row, rate each page, rating out of 5, rate the prompt and outcome. Now, I don't know exactly what that means still. I'm not sure if I'm going to be rating the artwork or if I'm going to be rating the prompt and the artwork. Because I know sometimes there's going to be prompts that I don't like, but I might like the art that came from the prompt. I haven't 100% decided yet, but we'll see. Honestly, if I could redo this double page spread, I would write like what the rule meant in the box, and I would rate each page above where it says rule box, and then I would like put the doodles everywhere else, because I really don't like the sticker thing I did here. All right, it's time for us to go over what we did today. First, we did the edges of the book, and so far it's holding up. It's not rubbing off on my fingers or anything, so I'm happy with that. And then we did the title page, where I colored in a simpler version of the cover. And I put my name here. And I also glued like kind of like an end sheet on to the back cover here, cover up all that mess that was inside. And then there was an empty box here on the copyright page. So I filled it in with coffee because I'm more than likely going to have coffee every time I work in this. And then we skip a couple pages, and here is where the book is claiming it begins. And I had a little checklist that I filled out because I did all those things, and I filled in the page with stickers just to get something interesting going. And then we have Create a Fancy Name, where I did my name over and over again, and I also did some paw prints for Chi, because he's probably going to make a cameo here and there during this series. Chi is my cat, by the way. And last, we created our rule for the rest of the book. I'm not happy with this page here, because I thought I had more stuff to make it look like a rating, but it was kind of the same 2 things over and over again, hearts and stars. And there was a lot of ghosting over here, so I just didn't really know what to do. But my rule is rate each page. I'm going to rate each page after this page. And unfortunately, that's all I had time for this time. So I didn't actually get to the actual first prompt of the book like I had wanted to, but that's okay. We'll just save that for next time. I have to put this in its cage while I do the outro here. But that is going to be it for me today. If you guys want to check out where I did the cover of this book, you could tap the thumbnail here. If you want to catch up on anything you missed, you could tap the thumbnail here. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to do all the cool YouTube things of commenting, liking, subscribing, and turning on that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!